Hey everyone, Matt here. This is an update on the $2,000 stimulus check amendment that was passed through the House yesterday and sent on to the Senate and Mitch McConnell for further review and voting. Now that the Senate has reconvened, let me bring you up to speed with everything that happened today in the Senate regarding this $2,000 stimulus check amendment. Today is Tuesday, December 29th, so let's get right into it. But hey, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Matt, and if you're returning, welcome back. I hope you're having a nice day for all of you. If you haven't done so, please make sure to hit that subscribe button just right below the video. Thank you so much for your support. I really do appreciate it. All right, so let's talk about what happened today in the Senate regarding this $2,000 stimulus check amendment. Like I said in my videos yesterday, hurdle number 1 has been passed. We're beyond hurdle number 1. That was the House. Now we are on to the biggest hurdle that we have to face right now, which is the Senate. If we can get over this hurdle, then it goes to President Trump for a signature, which should probably be no problem. Considering this is his idea, he would most likely sign it. So here we are. We're getting ready to jump over the next hurdle. It's a tall one. We got to come in with a lot of speed and see what we can do. So Mitch McConnell today, in the Senate, Mitch McConnell objected to a motion presented by Chuck Schumer to approve the $2,000 stimulus check measure through or by unanimous consent. So now this comes as no shock that Mitch McConnell has objected to it. Now again, I just want to say, no voting has taken place in the Senate quite yet on the $2,000 stimulus check amendment. So no voting quite yet. However, Mitch McConnell did continue on to say a few things. Mitch McConnell continued on to say they will consider larger stimulus checks in conjunction with addressing a couple other issues that President Trump has brought up, one of which being the repeal or complete termination and or the overhaul of Section 230, which is big tech liability protections. This is something that's very important to President Trump. He has brought it up multiple times, and it sounds like Mitch McConnell wants to address that as well. So it sounds like Mitch McConnell is considering larger stimulus checks, but rather than just voting on it and saying, sure, we'll do $2,000 stimulus checks, he's looking at this as an opportunity to, as a bribe, not necessarily a bribe, but more like a negotiation, as in, okay, we'll give you larger stimulus checks, but in place of that, in place of the $2,000 stimulus checks, we want to repeal Section 230 or drastically overhaul. So we'll have to see what Mitch McConnell comes out with as far as all that goes. But it sounds like this is going to turn into somewhat of a little bit of a negotiation, which typically happens. You know, that's just what happens. A lot of negotiating happens. At the same time, Mitch McConnell said that they're going to be the Senate will be bringing these 3 priorities into focus this week. So that's actually good because Mitch McConnell is actually considering bringing these into focus, which is actually good. I realize that doesn't sound that great because they don't have any votes scheduled on this $2,000 stimulus check amendment. However, remember, this bill could have just gone to Mitch McConnell's desk, could have sat there on his desk, and eventually made its way into the shredder, and that's all the further it could have gone. So my point is the simple fact that he's considering thinking about this and considering bringing it to the floor is actually a good thing because just like so many other proposals this year, they've gone to Mitch McConnell and they go nowhere other than the shredder. So we have a simple fact that Mitch McConnell is considering it, which is a huge step in the right direction. So we'll have to continue watching this throughout the week to see what happens. Another thing here, this is actually really good when it comes to stimulus checks. And actually, this strategy worked just a couple weeks ago. Let me talk about what it is. Bernie Sanders. Everybody knows Bernie Sanders. He was out a couple weeks ago. Let me talk about that in just a second. But Bernie Sanders was out and said that he would hold up any Bernie Sanders said that he would hold up any attempt to override President Trump's veto on the defense bill. So remember, President Trump vetoed the defense bill, what was that, last week? So the House voted last night to override his veto. Now that it's going to the Senate for another vote to override President Trump's veto, Bernie Sanders is coming in saying, hey, I'm going to hold up any attempt to override President Trump's veto unless we get a vote on $2,000 stimulus checks. So the reason I want to bring this to you is because a couple weeks ago, when they were negotiating the stimulus bill that President Trump signed on Sunday night, Bernie Sanders did the exact same thing. Remember that? They were negotiating the stimulus bill. Remember that? They were negotiating the bill. It does not have stimulus checks in it. Bernie Sanders came out and said, hey, I'm going to object, and I'm going to sit here and continue to oppose this bill. I'm going to object to the bill until you add stimulus checks. Remember that? He continued to do that. Well, guess what? They were forced to add stimulus checks in, and guess what they did? They added stimulus checks into the bill. Now, guess what? It wasn't $1,200, but it was $600, which is, it's $600. It is what it is at this point. So my point is, without Bernie standing there and saying, I'm going to continue objecting to this until you add stimulus checks, it got stimulus checks added. So here's Bernie once again standing there saying, hey, I'm going to repeal all of this, or I'm going to hold all of this up until we get a vote on stimulus checks. So it worked for Bernie one time. You never know. It might work for Bernie again, and it probably is going to. In fact, this is a major hurdle for Mitch McConnell. So, yeah, we'll have to see what happens for old Bernie here and this strategy once again. So, Bernie, there he is, working on stimulus checks for the people. So there you go. At the same time, Mitch McConnell, he could come out with a counteroffer. I wouldn't be shocked if this happens. Mitch McConnell could come out with a counteroffer and say, hey, everybody wants $2,000 stimulus checks. I'm not cool with $2,000 stimulus checks, but I'm cool with $1,200 if we repeal Section 230 and talk about some of this other business. That could be an option too. In that case, if Mitch McConnell comes out with a counteroffer, again, we could be looking at potentially weeks and weeks of negotiations between the House and Senate, going back and forth. Who knows what could happen there? So either way, I'll continue watching this throughout the week. But here's where we stand as of now. Even though we have not received a vote on the $2,000 stimulus checks quite yet in the Senate, we weren't. I mean, it is what it is. Even though we haven't gotten a vote on the stimulus checks quite yet, we still have the $600 stimulus checks coming to us. Remember those? The $600 is already locked in. We got those coming. I made a video earlier this morning talking about when you can receive your stimulus check. If you haven't seen that video yet, feel free to watch it. I'll tell you, I talked about exactly when we can expect to see our stimulus checks, who's included, all of that business. I cover all of that. But the $600 is still on the table. So we should be receiving those here within the next week, 2 weeks. It completely depends. There's a lot of variables, but those should be starting to hit bank accounts here by next week for sure. So regardless of what happens, we still got the $600. If they continue to push through with the amendment for $2,000 stimulus checks, and if it gets approved by the Senate and signed by the president, then what would happen is if you've already received your $600 stimulus check, you would likely just receive the remaining $1,400 to bring you up to the $2,000. Does that make sense? So it's not going to be $600 plus $2,000. That's not what it's going to be. It's going to be $600 plus $1,400 to bring you up to the $2,000. However, that's if it gets passed through the Senate and signed by the president. So we still have some major hurdles to get over here, but we'll have to continue watching Mitch and the Senate this week to see what they come up with. I'll keep you posted. I wanted to give you this quick update and let you know what's happening. Maybe I'll be back later today. Maybe Corey and I will be back with a live stream later. I'm not sure yet. Let's see if I can convince Corey to come back for a live stream. But either way, I hope this helps you out. Enjoy your day. Stay safe, and I'll be here for you. Be sure to hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so. Thanks, everybody. See you later.